Welcome to Downingtown. This is what we do. We have so many beers here at Victory because there's really not a whole lot of other fun. I have Whirlwind, Belgian White Ale. It looks like you got the Mad King Vice.
All right, well,
The
cheers.
Mad King.
All right, well, I feel like a Mad King.
The very first brew at Victory was our Victory Fest beer. It was in December of '95. At that time, the craft beer industry was not obviously as developed as it is now. We really thought that an amber lager was about as much as the audience could handle. We also had this real passion for hoppy IPAs, so we sort of made this thing called a hop devil, which we really didn't think anyone was going to appreciate, but we knew we wanted to have it. And oddly enough, our staff really enjoyed it. We sort of miscalculated the audience's appreciation for big flavor.
When you realized that people were taking to these bold flavors, did that give you more license to take chances?
Even though we brew the beers we want to drink, you can't, as a business, continue to brew beers that no one wants to drink. So basically the audience gives us all the artistic license that we enjoy and appreciate. They give us leads that we follow.
Have you ever gone too far?
Nah, there's never too far. We're hoping to go too far someday. We make Rauch beers, we make some smoked beers, smoked malt beers, and those are real love or hate. Some people are all over them, and other people are like, oh my God, what's the bacon doing in here? Are you crazy? But in terms of trying things, I mean, you know, we've got this wonderful brew pub that seats 300 people, so we're very fortunate in that our audience comes in and tells us how they really feel about our beer. And you know, after 2 pints, people can be pretty honest with you.
Their feedback is pretty important to you.
It really is. It really is, because oftentimes it allows us to do more than maybe even we anticipated doing. So we haven't found our audience as limiting our dreams and ambitions in beer. We've found them actually inspiring and encouraging us to go further.
But one of the things that's interesting about efforts by macrobreweries to explain the process of brewing is that they are getting into more detail about the ingredients being used. And I really do think that that is a reaction to Americans' growing taste for craft beers, because we have a closer connection to where it came from, and we have a better understanding of what it took to make that.
We're living in a great time because integrity actually has a value again. It was sort of totally bled out of the system throughout the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. You know, everything had to be industrial and homogenized and the same everywhere. And now the actual integrity of the producer, the farmer, and how he treats the animals, I mean, all of these things actually matter to the consumer. And you're right, the big producers are trying to have integrity, display integrity. Anheuser-Busch said, well, wait a second, we've got 12 breweries. We can be fresher than you. And, you know, they did. They came out and they did the born on dating, and, you know, like it or not, that was a reaction and response, as you had said.
Bill, in a recent interview, you said that Victory's brewing philosophy is that you take existing global styles and you make them bolder for the American palate. How did you determine what the American palate is?
We relied on ourselves, Ron and I, as being representative of the American palate, because when we started homebrewing back in 1985, we were just consumers. You know, we were drinking Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and things like that when we could get it. So we've come from the consumer base, and we haven't really left it. The first craft brewers that were out there were really trying to brew for their own taste and their friends, not anticipating the success perhaps that we've been able to enjoy. We definitely feel that as craft brewers, it doesn't always have to be big flavor, but it has to be flavor. So we always want to be delivering it, whether it's in a low alcohol beer like Donnybrook Stout, or whether it's in a hop bomb, big alcohol beer like Hop Wallop. So
some of your beers, like the Prima Pils, the Donnybrook, they're subtle beers, well-balanced beers. You know, it's easy to get a lot of people to drink those beers. How do you get those same people coming back for a Golden Monkey, which is a lot more bold? How do you convince drinkers to take a chance?
I would say variety is the spice of life. I think people are naturally predisposed to want to do different things at different times. Different flavors are more compelling and appealing to them at different times. So we don't really try and stress that. You know, a Hop Devil drinker who loves Hop Devil might be at a beer festival with us in July. We'll go out there with Prima Pils and put it in their hand, and they'll be like, I really want Hop Devil. But when they get the hop approach of Prima and the refreshment of Prima, suddenly they didn't know what they were looking for. That's kind of how we lead people into new experiences.